Hello. Good morning. Good morning. It's morning here. It's morning there, wherever you might be, whether in reality or not. Hi. I hope you're having a good one. My name's Brian. You can see there. I'm a poet, and on this channel, we do poetry. Good morning. How you doing? I think I already said that. Right now, it looks like I'm talking to myself, so we'll just give it a minute or two. So it's the afternoon. Well, that would be my European fellows. If you're over there, hi. Down under, good evening. I hope you had a good Monday. It's been a Monday so far. Yeah, but at least I got some coffee and a biscuit. And we're going to play some music. But didn't I say we do poetry on this channel? We do. But we do it with a twist. We musicify it. We turn it into songs using artificial intelligence. Sometimes it seems most of our intelligence out there is artificial, but that's a different story. All right, so yeah, I had to take a poem from someone like Shakespeare, say for example. Plug it in this particular AI. It spits out a couple of tracks, and we do a compare and contrast. And that's usually, today I had planned a redo and review. At least that's what the title says, but since there's no one here, I'm just going to play some songs. Or I might just shut it off and try tomorrow. Let's start with the one that's been on my mind lately, Elizabeth Bishop.
The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost, but their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day except the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster. Places and names and where it was you meant to travel, none of these will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last door, next to last of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Lovely ones and vaster. Some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I miss them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love, I shan't have lied.
passions, all delights, whatever stirs this mortal frame, all are but ministers of love and feed his sacred flame. Oft in my waking dreams do I live o'er again that happy hour, when midway on the mount I lay beside the ruined tower. The moonshine stealing o'er the scene had blended with the lights of eve, and she was there, my hope, my joy, my own dear Genevieve.
She leant against the armored rounded statue of the armed knight. She stood and listened to my lay amid the lingering light. Few sorrows hath she of her own, my hope, my joy, my Genevieve. She loves me best whene'er I sing the songs that make her grieve.
I played a soft and doleful air, I sang an old and moving story, an old rude song that suited well that ruin wild and hoary.
She listened with a flitting blush, with downcast eyes and modest grace, for well she knew I could not choose but gaze upon her face.
I told her of the knight that wore upon his shield a burning brand, and that for 10 long years he wooed the lady of the land.
I told her how he pined, and the deep, the low, the pleading tone
with which I sang another's love interpreted my own. She listened with a flitting blush, with downcast eyes and modest grace, and she forgave me that I gazed too fondly on her face.
But when I told the cruel scorn that crazed that bold and lovely knight, and that he crossed the mountain woods, nor rested day nor night,
that sometimes from the savage din, and sometimes from the darksome shade, and sometimes starting up at once in green and sunny glade, there came and looked him in the face an angel beautiful and bright, and that he knew it was a fiend, this miserable night, and that unknowing what he did, he leaped amid a murderous band, saved from outrage worse than death the lady of the land. And how she wept and clasped his knees, and how she tended him in vain, and ever strove to expiate the scorn that crazed his brain, and that she nursed him in a cave, and how his madness went away when on the yellow forest leaves a dying man he lay. His dying words, but when I reached that tenderest strain of all the ditty, my faltering voice and pausing heart stirred her soul with pity, implored my guileless Genevieve, the awful tale, the rich and balmy, and hopes and fears that kindle hope, an undistinguishable throng, in gentle wishes long subdued, subdued and cherished long. She wept with pity and delight, she blushed with love and virgin shame, and like the murmur of a dream, I heard her breathe my name. Her bosom conscious of my look, she stepped. Then suddenly, with timorous eyes, she fled to me and wept. She half enclosed me with her arms. She pressed me with a meek embrace, and bending back her head, looked up and gazed upon my face. 'Twas partly love and partly fear, and partly 'twas a bashful art, that I might rather feel than see the swelling of her heart. I calmed her fears and she was calm, and told her love with virgin pride. And so I won my Genevieve, my bright and beauteous bride.
Let's go ahead and continue with some Sam now, shall we? We haven't heard this in a while.
An ancient mariner, and he stoppeth one of three. By thy long grey beard and glittering eye, now wherefore stopp'st thou me? The bridegroom's doors are opened wide, and I am next of kin. The guests are met, the feast is set, mayst hear the merry din. He holds him with his skinny hand. There was a ship, quoth he. Hold up, unhand me, grey beard loom. As soon's his hand dropped he. He holds him with his glittering eye. The wedding guest stood still and listens like a 3-year child. The mariner hath his will. The wedding guest sat on a stone. He cannot choose but hear, and thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. Was cheered, the harbor cleared, merrily did we drop. Below the cock, below the hill, below the lighthouse top. He holds him with his skinny hand. There was a ship, quoth he. Hold on, unhand me, grey beard loom. As soon's his hand dropped he. He holds him with his glittering eye. The wedding guest stood still and listens like a 3-year child. The mariner hath his will. The wedding guest sat on a stone. He cannot choose but hear, and thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. The ship was cheered, the harbor cleared, merrily did we drop. Below the cock, below the hill, below the lighthouse top. The sun came up upon the left, out of the sea came he. And he shone bright, and on the right went down into the sea. Higher and higher every day, till over the mast at noon. wedding guest here beat his breast, for he heard the loud bassoon. The bride half paced into the hall, red as a rose is she, nodding their heads before her goes the merry minstrelsy. The wedding guest, he beats his breast, yet he cannot choose but hear. And thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. And now the storm blast came, and he was tyrannous and strong. He struck with his oar, taking wings, and chased us south along. The bride half paced into the hall, red as a rose is she, nodding their heads before her goes the merry minstrelsy. The wedding guest, he beats his breast, yet he cannot choose but hear. And thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. And now the storm blast came, and he was tyrannous and strong. He struck with his oar, taking wings, and chased us south along. The bride half paced into the hall, red as a rose is she, no new, nodding their heads before her goes the merry minstrelsy, the merry minstrelsy. The wedding guest, he beats his breast, yet he cannot choose but hear. And thus spake on that ancient man, the bright-eyed mariner. The bright-eyed mariner. The bright-eyed mariner. The bright-eyed mariner. The bright-eyed mariner.
With sloping masts and dipping prow, as who pursue with yell and blow, still treads the shadow of his foe, and forward bends his head. The ship drove fast, loud roared the blast, and southward we fled. And now there came both mist and snow, and it grew wondrous cold, and ice mast high came floating by, as green as emerald. And through the drifts, the snowy cliffs did send a dismal sheen. No shapes of men nor beasts we ken, the ice was all between. The ice was here, the ice was there, the ice was all around. It cracked and growled and roared and howled like noises in a swound. At length it crossed an albatross, through the fog it came, as if it had been a Christian soul. We hailed it in God's name. Was here, the ice was fair, the ice was all around. It cracked and growled and roared and howled like noises in a swound. At length it crossed an albatross, through the fog it came, as if it had been a Christian soul. We hailed it in God's name. The ice was here, the ice was there, the ice was all around. It cracked and growled and roared and howled like noises in a swound. At length it crossed an albatross, the road, the fog it came, as if it had been a Christian soul. We hailed it in God's name. We hailed it in God's name. At length did cross an albatross. The road, the fog it came, as if it had been a Christian soul. We hailed it in God's name. Give our sloping masts and dipping prow, as who pursued with yell and blow still treads the shadow of his foe, and forward bends his head. The ship drove fast, loud roared the blast, and southward we fled.
All right.
And round it flew. The ice did split with the thunder fit. The helmsman steered us through, and a good south wind sprung up behind. The albatross did follow, and every day for food or play came to the mariner's hollow. In mist or cloud, on mast or shroud, it perched for vespers 9, whilst all the night through fog smoke white glimmered the white moonshine. God save thee, ancient mariner, from the fiends that plague thee thus. Why look'st thou so? With my crossbow I shot the albatross.
It's been a while since we've heard those all together. So how y'all doing? Yeah, I had a whole show planned this morning, but when I got on here and there was no one, we'll do that tomorrow because it's long. Well, today I don't have school today, so it really doesn't matter today, but it's long. I got like, I think 2 hours from the last couple weeks, and I'm not even done making them all. Like, I'm leaving a whole day's work off because, well, a whole day's tracks off, or a whole show's tracks off, because, you know, I've already got, like, I mean, let me pull up, what is it? Yeah, there's, like, a whole shitload of tracks. Yeah, but about 2 hours worth of work, worth of music for the redo show, so we'll do that tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to figure out something to play, and then George really wants me to come to his aid. All right, here, let's do this one. Little desktop here. Oh. Damn it. Where's the desktop? I need to figure out what I'm doing here. There it is. And then we'll do a good one here. Here we go.
shot from her bower eaves. He rode between the barley sheaves. The sun came dazzling through the leaves and flamed upon the brazen greaves of bold Sir Lancelot. A Red Cross Knight forever kneel to a lady in his shield that sparkled on the yellow field beside remote Shalott. Some branch of stars we see hung in the golden galaxy. The bridal bells rang merrily as he rode down from Camelot. And from his blazoned baldric slung a mighty silver bugle hung. And as he rode, his armor rung beside remote Shalott. Sunlight glowed on burnished hooves. His warhorse strode from underneath. His helmet flowed, his coal-black curls as on he rode, as he rode down from Camelot. From the bank and from the river he flashed into the crystal mirror. Tiralira, tiralira, sang Sir Lancelot. She left the loom, she made 3 paces through the room. She saw the waterflower bloom, she saw the helmet and the plume. She looked down to Camelot, out flew the web and floated wide. The mirror cracked from side to side. The curses come upon me, cried the Lady of Shalott.
You know, the more I think about it, about Arthurian legend, you know, I've mentioned this before. You know, the Lady of Shalott. You got the, you know, the Lamort the Arthur and stuff like that. Especially the Frenchified Arthurian legend. And you got that. And the more I think about it, the more I feel sorry for Lancelot. You know, to be so good looking that he caused the destruction of a kingdom. The poor fellow was honorable too, and but you know how we can be. You know how us guys can be. All right. So yeah, I caught a big part of your thing you did yesterday. Was it? Yeah. Coffee, yeah. Coffee. That's all I'm gonna say. And then figure out what next to play. Yeah, I noticed there was some extra cars in that parking lot, wasn't there? Yep, can't win them all. Can't win them all. All right, let's go over here. Oh, which one we do here. Let's do this one. The Lord Byron, When We Two Parted. I have no idea.
When we two parted in silence and tears, half broken hearted to sever for years, pale grew thy cheek and cold, colder thy kiss. Truly that hour foretold sorrow to this. The dew of the morning sunk chill on my brow. It felt like the warning of what I feel now. Thy vows are all broken, and light is thy fame. I hear thy name spoken and share in its shame. They name thee before me, a nail to mine ear. A shudder comes o'er me. Why wert thou so dear? They know not I knew thee, who knew thee so well. Long, long I shall rue thee, too deeply to tell. In secret we met, in silence I grieve that thy heart could forget, thy spirit deceive. If I should meet thee after long years, how should I greet thee with silence and tears?
Yeah, you did great, especially since you're out there on your own. And to them, children are illegal fiction. That's just, or a fiction. Of course, LRH was not a nice guy. Let's just put that. He was not a nice person. And I would say downright unpleasant. And you know how we feel around here about unpleasantness. Unpleasantness sucks. It interferes with dinner. Oh! All right. Let me see here. I know I did one here. Let's do this one. This one's Dreams, Langston Hughes. Ha
Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken wheel.
shadows deep. How many love your moments of glad grace, and love your beauty with love falls so true. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face. And bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly how love fled, and paced upon the mountains overhead, and hid his face amid a crowd of stars. How many love your moments of glad grace, and love your beauty with love falls so true. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face. Your moments of glad grace, and love your beauty with love falls so true. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face. Oh yeah, la, 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 la. Oh yeah. This plowman dead in battle slept out of doors many a frozen night, and merrily answered staid drinkers, good bedmen and all boors. At Mrs. Greenland's hawthorn bush said he, I slept, none knew which bush above the town. Beyond the drover, 100 spot the down, in Wiltshire, and where now at last he sleeps, more sound in France that to his secret keeps. This plowman dead in battle slept out of doors many a frozen night, and merrily answered staid drinkers, good bedmen and all boors. At Mrs. Greenland's hawthorn bush said he, I slept, none knew which bush above the town. Beyond the drover, 100 spot the down, in Wiltshire, and where now at last he sleeps, more sound in France that to his secret keeps. I slept, none knew which bush above the
on the drover, 100 spot the down in Wiltshire, and where now at last he sleeps, more sound in France that to his secret keeps.
The linnet in the rocky dells, the moorlark in the air, the bee among the heather bells that hide my lady fair. The wild deer browse above her breast, the wild birds raise their brood, and they her smiles of love caressed have left her solitude. I ween that when the grave's dark wall did first her form retain, they thought their hearts could ne'er recall the light of joy again. They thought the tide of grief would flow unchecked through future years, but where is all their anguish now, and where are all their tears? Well, let them fight for honor's breath, or pleasure's shade pursue. The dweller in the land of death is changed and careless too. And if their eyes should watch and weep till sorrow's source were dry, she would not in her tranquil sleep return a single sigh. Blow west nor wake so soon thy genial power. For deeds of death must hail thy reign, and clouds of fate around thee, Lord. Alas, not all thy store of charms for patriot hearts can comfort find, or lull to peace the dread alarms which rack the friends of humankind. In vain thy balmy breath to me sends with its sweets the evening gale. In vain the violet's charms I see, or fondly mark thy primrose pale. To me thy softest zephyrs breathe of sorrow's soul-distracting tone. To me thy most attractive wreath seems tinged with human blood alone. Arrest thy steps, thou source of love, thou genial friend of joy and life. Let not thy smile propitious prove to works of carnage, scenes of strife. Midwinter all his frowns recall, and back his icy footsteps trace. Again the soil in frost enthrall, and check the war fiend's murderous chase. A fruitless prayer thy hand divine must on the teeming season lead, and contrast dire war's red shrine must bid unnumbered victims bleed. But not in vain if on this hour fate of freedom shall depend. If o'er this earth eternal power the scale of justice now extends. For then, O spring, thy sun shall see the patriot flame triumphant shine. Galilee shall bid the world be free, and war his blood-stained throne
Yeah, lot of people much deserved the day off. Well, yeah, we had no school today. Of course, most days for me are days off. Although I did do a lot of work yesterday on stuff like school. And good morning. Good morning, Style. Nice of you to drop by. And good evening, King. How are you doing? All right. Have fun. Let's see. Yeah, I'm about an hour or so drive from Russellville as the crow flies. Hour 15. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, about an hour. Depending on how fast you go. I think there's supposed to be stuff like that around here too. The property I'm on, actually, I've found arrowheads when we do some digging or whatever. So what I want to do with this place is get rid of it and put me a little tiny house eventually. And then do my own little archaeological digs around here. Yeah. Yeah, so today's show is just, I don't know. Like I said earlier, have a good one. When I came on and it was just like, okay, there's nobody. Because I have a really good redo. I'll do those tomorrow, so that means I'll have to redo stuff. Redo the redo. Oh boy, so we're just playing some music. All right, let's do this. Let's change it up slightly.
Fly buzz when I died. The stillness in the room was like the stillness in the air between the heaves of storm. The eyes around had wrung them dry, and breaths were gathering firm for that last onset when the king be witnessed in the room. Keepsake signed away. What portion of me be assignable? And then it was there interposed the fly with blue uncertain stumbling buzz between the light and me. And then the windows failed, and then I could not see to see. bishop on the road, and much said he and I. Those breasts are flat and falling now, those veins must soon be dry. Live in a heavenly mansion, not in some foul sty. Fair and foul are near of kin, and fair needs foul, I cried. My friends are gone, but that's the truth, no grave, no bed denied. Learned in bodily lowliness and in the heart's pride. A woman can be proud and stiff when on love intent, but love is pitched his mansion in the place of excrement. For nothing can be sold that has not been rent. When on love intent, but love has pitched his mansion in the place of excrement. For nothing can be sold or whole that has not been
Drum on your drums, batter on your banjos. Sob on the long, cool, winding saxophone. Go to it, oh Jasmine.
Sling your knuckles on the bottoms of the happy. Tin pans, let your trombones ooze and go hush-a. Hush-a, hush with the slippery sandpaper.
Moan like an autumn wind high in the lonesome treetops. Moan soft like you wanted somebody terrible. Cry loud. Racing car slipping away from a motorcycle cop. Bang, bang.
Jasmine, bang all together drums.
Traps, banjos, horns, tin cans make two people fight on the top of a stairway and scratch each other's eyes in a clinch, tumbling down the stairs. Can the rough stuff now a Mississippi steamboat pushes up the night river with a hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Lanterns calling to the high soft stars. A red moon rides on the humps of the low river hills. Go to it, oh Jasmine. sixth of these states was her last. The cold settled down. Sweet ladies, long may ye bloom, and softly I hope ye may thaw. But was she not lucky in flowers and lace and mourning? In love and great honor we bade, God rest her soul. After 6 little spaces of chill and 6 of burning.
I love that one. And I love this one.
How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail and pour the waters of the Nile on every golden scale? How cheerfully he seems to grin, how neatly spreads his claws and welcomes little fishes in with gently smiling jaws. How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail and pour the waters of the Nile on every golden scale? How cheerfully he seems to grin, how neatly spreads his claws and welcomes little fishes in with gently smiling jaws. How cheerfully he seems to grin, how neatly spreads his claws and welcomes little fishes in with gently smiling jaws. How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail and pour the waters of the Nile on every golden scale? How cheerfully he seems to grin, how neatly spreads his claws and welcomes little fishes in with gently smiling jaws.
Sort of in the same vein. We haven't heard this one yet.
What was he doing, the great god Pan, down in the reeds by the river? spreading ruin and scattering bands, splashing and paddling with hoofs of a goat, and breaking the golden lilies afloat with the dragonfly on the river. He tore out a reed, the great god Pan, from the deep cool bed of the river. The limpid water turbidly ran, and the broken lilies a dying lay, and the dragonfly had fled away ere he brought it out of the river. High on the shore sate the great god Pan, while turbidly flowed the river. And hacked and hewed as a great god can with his hard bleak steel at the patient reed, till there was not a sign of a leaf indeed to prove it fresh from the river. He cut it short, did the great god Pan.
How tall it stood in the river. The river then drew the pith like the heart of a man, steadily from the outside ring, and notched the poor dry empty thing
In holes as he sate by the river. This is the way laughed the great god Pan, laughed while he sate by the river. The only way since gods began to make sweet music they could succeed.
Then dropping his mouth to a hole in the reed, he blew in power by the river. Sweet, 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 oh Pan, piercing sweet by the river. Blinding sweet, oh great god Pan, the sun on the hill forgot to die, and the lilies revived, and the dragonfly came back
To dream on the river.
Tis midnight o'er the dim mare's lonely bosom. Dark, dusky, windy, midnight swift are driven. The swelling vapors onward, every blossom bathes its bright petals in the tears of heaven. Imperfect, half-seen objects meet the sight. The other half our fancy must portray. One dull, lengthened sheet of swimming light lies the broad lake. The moon conceals her ray, sketched faintly by a pale and lurid gleam, shot through the glimmering clouds. The lovely planet is shrouded in obscurity. The scream of owl is silent, and the rocks of granite rise tall and drearily, while damp and dank hang the thick willows on the reedy bank. Beneath the gurgling eddy slowly creep, blackened by foliage and the glutting wave. that zaps eternally. The cold gray steep sounds heavily within the hollow cave. All earth is restless from his glossy wing. The heat fowl lifts his head at intervals. When driving rainy come the bursting squalls. All nature wears her dun-dead covering. Tempest is gathered and the brooding storm spreads its black mantle over mountains form. And mingled with the rising roar is swelling from the far hunter's booth, the bloodhounds yelling. The water falls in various cadence chiming, or in one loud unbroken sheet descending. Salute each other through the night's dark womb. The moaning pine trees to the wild blast bending are pictured faintly through the checkered gloom. The forest halfway up the mountain climbing resound with crash of falling branches quiver. Their ages mossy trunks. The startled doe leaps from a leafy lair. The swelling river winds his broad stream, majestic, deep, and slow.
mercy still. Once the mercy despots feel, hear it in that battle peal. Read it on yon bristling steel. Ask if Jehu will. Before you see who have done it from the veil, on they come and will ye quail? Let rain and iron hail, let their welcome be.
so well. Ask where heaven its dew shall shed on the martyred patriot's bed, and the rocks shall raise their head of his deeds to tell.
soul, and let us rejoice. For if he thunder by law, the thunder is yet his voice. The law is God, say some. No God at all, says the fool. For all we have power to see is a straight stop bent in a vision, were it not he. There are hermit souls that live withdrawn in the place of their self-content. There are souls like stars that dwell apart in a fellowless firmament. There are pioneer souls that blaze the paths where highways never ran. But let me live by the side of the road and be a friend to man. Let me live in a house by the side of the road where the race of men go by. The men who are good and the men who are bad, as good and as bad as I would not sit in the scorner's seat, nor hurl the cynic's ban. Let me live in a house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I see from my house by the side of the road, by the side of the highway of life, the men who press with the ardor of hope, the men who are faint with the strife. But I turn not away from their smiles and tears, both parts of an infinite plan. Let me live in a house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I know there are brookland meadows ahead and mountains of wearisome height, that the road passes on through the long afternoon and stretches away to the night. And still I rejoice when the travelers rejoice and weep with the strangers that mourn, nor live in my house by the side of the road like a man who dwells alone. Let me live in my house by the side of the road, where the race of men go by. They are good, they are bad, they are weak, they are strong, wise, foolish, so am I. Then why should I sit in the scorner's seat or hurl the cynic's ban? Let me live in my house by the side of the road and be a friend to man.
Don't think I've played this one in a while.
Cannot live except thus mutually. We alternate, aware or unaware. The reflex act of life, and when we bear our virtue onward most impulsively, most full of invocation, and to be most instantly compelling shirts there. We live most life, whoever breathes most air, and counts his dying years by sun and sea. But when a soul by choice and conscience doth throw out her full force on another soul, the conscience and the concentration both make mere life, love for life in perfect whole, and aim consummated is love in swoon, as nature's magnetic heat rounds pole with this black hive tonight, there swarm a million bees. Bees passing in and out the moon, bees escaping out the moon, bees returning through the moon. Silver bees intently buzzing, silver honey dripping from the swarm of bees. Earth is a waxen cell of the world comb, and I a drone, lying on my back, lipping honey, getting drunk with that silver honey. Wish that I might fly out past the moon and curl forever in some far-off farmyard flower. Within this black hive tonight, there swarm a million bees. Bees passing in and out the moon, bees escaping out the moon, bees returning through the moon, silver bees intently buzzing, silver honey dripping from the swarm of bees. Earth is a waxen cell of the world comb, and I a drone lying on my back, lipping honey, getting drunk with that silver honey. Wish that I might fly out past the moon and curl forever in some far-off farmyard flower. When curl forever in some far-off farmyard flower.
We'll play a couple.
And Apenic Sweeney spread his knees, letting his arms hang down to laugh. The zebra stripes along his jaw, swelling to maculate giraffe. The circles of the stormy moon slide westward toward the river plate. Death and the raven drift above, and Sweeney guards the horned gate. Gloomy Orion and the dog are veiled and hushed, the shrunken seas. The person in the Spanish cape tries to sit on Sweeney's knees, slips and pulls the tablecloth, overturns a coffee cup, reorganized upon the floor. She yawns and draws a stocking up. The silent man in mocha brown sprawls at the windowsill and gapes. The waiter brings in oranges, bananas, figs, and hothouse grapes. The silent vertebrate in brown contracts and concentrates, withdraws. Rachel Narabinovich tears at the grapes with myrrh's paws. She and the lady in the cape are suspect, thought to be in league. Therefore the man with heavy eyes declines the gambit, shows fatigue, leaves the room and reappears outside the window, leaning in. Branches of wisteria circumscribe a golden grin. The host with someone indistinct converses at the door apart. The nightingales are singing near the convent of the Sacred Heart. And sang within the bloody wood when Agamemnon cried aloud and let their liquid siftings fall to stain the stiff, dishonored shroud.
They're all good.
After the sun's eclipse, the brighter angel and the spear which drew a bridal outcry from her open lips, she could not prove it true, nor think at first of any means to test by what she had been wedded or possessed. Not all cries were the same. There was an island in mythology called by the very vowels of her name, where vagrants of the sea, changed by a wand, were made to squeal and cry as heavy captives in a witch's style. The proof came soon and plain. Visions were true, which quickened her to run God's barefoot errands in the rocks of Spain, beneath its beating sun, and lock the oath of ecstasy within. The tempered consonant of dissident. The proof came soon and plain. Visions were true, which quickened her to run God's barefoot errands in the rocks of Spain, beneath its beating sun, and lock the oath of ecstasy within. The proof came soon and plain. Visions were true, which quickened her to run God's barefoot errands in the rocks of Spain, beneath its beating sun, and lock the oath of ecstasy within. The tempered consonant of discipline. I've watched the seasons passing slow, so slow, in the fields between Libassay and Bethune. Primroses and the first warm day of spring, red poppy floods of June, August and yellowing autumn sow. 2 winter nights knee-deep in mud or snow, and you've been everything. Dear, you've been everything that I most lack in these soul-deadening trenches. Pictures, books, music, the quiet of an English wood, beautiful comrade looks, the narrow bouldered mountain track, the broad full-bosomed ocean, green and black, and peace and all that's good. I most lack in these soul-deadening trenches. Pictures, books, music, the quiet of an English wood, beautiful comrade looks, the narrow bouldered mountain track, the broad, full-bosomed ocean, green and black, and peace and all that's good. Dear, you've been everything that I most lack in these soul-deadening trenches. Pictures, books, music, the quiet of an English wood, beautiful comrade looks, a narrow bouldered mountain track, the broad full-bosomed ocean, green and black, and peace and all that's good, and all that's good.
The robin laughed in the orange tree, oh windy north, a fig for thee. While breasts are red and wings are bold, and green trees wave us globes of gold, time's sighs shall reap but bliss for me.
Sunlight song and the orange tree
burn golden globes in the leafy sky. My orange planet's crimson eye will shine and shoot among the spheres and thread the heavenly orange tree with orbits bright of minstrel Why should I ache the season's slate? I'll sing from the top of the orange tree. Gramercy, winter's tyranny. South with the sun and keep my climb. My wing is king of the summertime. My breast to the sun, his torch shall hold, and I'll call down through the green and gold. Time, take thy scythe, reap bliss for me. Bestir thee under the orange tree.
At the top of the house, the apples are laid in rows, and the skylight lets the moonlight in. Those apples are deep sea apples of green. There goes a cloud on the moon in the autumn night. In the wainscot scratches and scratches, and then there is no sound at the top of the house of men. Or mice in the cloud is blown, and the moon again dapples the apples with deep sea light. The silvers out of the moon, those moonlit apples of dreams, and quiet is the steep stair. Under in the corridors, under there is nothing but sleep, and stiller than ever on orchard boughs they keep. Tressed with the moon, and deep is the silence, deep on moon-washed apples of wonder. Dusky groves were chilly all day long, mocking the nuthatch and the cardinal. The trim drab catbird trolls its fitful song. I hear the mellow golden pawpaws fall. luscious fruit scorned as of little worth by those who long for guavas of the south, figs and bananas pining at the north is barren of the luxuries of the earth. Fruit that I sought in childhood with a mouth eager to taste thy wild delicious juice. What orange grown in groves of Italy, or what pomegranate ripened in the dews of Grecian isles would I not now refuse for the rare flavored racy pulp of thee. When midnight mists are creeping and all the land is sleeping, around me tread the mighty dead and slowly pass away. The warriors, saints and sages from out the vanished ages, with solemn pace and reverent face, appear and pass away. The blaze of noonday splendor, the twilight soft and tender, may charm the eye, yet they shall die and pass away. But here in dreamland center, no spoiler's hand may enter. These visions fair, this radiance rare, shall never pass away. The forms of old recalling, around me tread the mighty dead and slowly pass away. 'Cause
Hey kiddos, nice, nice you show up. We're playing a few more before we get along with our day. Here we go.
There is a pleasure in the pathless woods. There is a rapture on the lonely shore. There is society where none intrudes. By the deep sea and music in its roar. I love not less, but nature more. From these our interviews in which I steal from all I may be or have been before, to mingle with the universe and feel what I can ne'er express, yet cannot all conceal.
Well, my friends, nice. It's a day. It's a Monday, and as usual, I have been up too long. Got stuff to do. We've been at it for 2 hours, so I've just played whatever today, and then tomorrow I got the redo and review and stuff like that. Lots of tracks. We'll see what happens. Thursday, no show because I have to go get an MRI. And then, yeah, we'll just see what happens. In the meantime, Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. We're back up to 250. I mean, not 250. Not in my luck. Yeah, they freaking cut 200 people. No. We're back up to 450, but oh no. But I don't know which one we want to play us out with. The favorite of all of ours. And, you know, something to think about.
Bake the day she suddenly dropped dead. We chew it slowly, that last apple pie. Shocked into sleeplessness, you're scared of bed. We never could talk much, and now don't try. You're like bookends, the pair of you, she'd say. Hog that great, say nothing, sit, sleep, stare. The scholar me, you worn out on poor pay. Only our silence made us seem a pair. Not as good for staring in blue gas. Too regular each, but each yellow spike. At night you need my company to pass, and she not here to tell us we're alike. Your life's all shattered into smithereens. Back in our silences and sullen looks. For all the scotch we drink, what's still betweens? Not the 30 or so years, but books, books. You're like bookends, the pair of you, she'd say. Hog that great, say nothing, sit, sleep, stare. The scholar me, you worn out on poor pay. Only our silence made us seem a pair. The scholar me, you worn out on poor pay. Only our silence made us seem a pair. Not as good for staring in blue gas. Too regular each, but each yellow spike. At night you need my company to pass, and she not here to tell us we're alike. Your life's all shattered into smithereens. Back in our silences and sullen looks. For all the scotch we drink, what's still betweens? Not the 30 or so years, but books, books, books.
Oh, George has decided to motivate him. All right. Well, good morning. Thanks for joining us. I hope you like what you heard. There's, we've been on for, if you want to replay, check out the rest of the channel or whatever. But I'm glad you enjoyed the show today. Just one of the off the cuffs ones. Hey. But yeah, I got stuff to do. It's homework, stuff like that and stuff. But thank y'all for showing up. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yes, take care and have a good day. And I'll see you tomorrow. And stuff. And we'll play some more. All right. Bye.